are you? It is I, Smriti of House looking like a homeless person. It's fine. We're not gonna get into it today, okay? Like, we're just not. Also, like, ignore the mess that is behind that. It's fine. Anyway, point is, today I am gonna start a vlog slash experiment of sorts because I have just got on to Storygraph, which is like an alternative to Goodreads. Goodreads, as we all know, sucks. Like, it's great for like what it's supposed to be doing, but it doesn't do it. Like, there is no UI UX people in Goodreads, I think, and they have no like people who want to make the platform better. Like, they're just like, this works for the majority of people, and let's just put a deaf ear to all the people who are asking for changes or like to make it slightly better, because like, no, it's fine. And plus Amazon, I mean, you have so much money, but you're still not making any changes. But anyway, Storygraph is a platform which is trying to be like a Goodreads, and it's actually really cool. I just exported my entire shelves and books from Goodreads, and I put it onto my Storygraph, and I think I'm still like figuring it out, and it's still in its beta zone. So yeah, but oh, I do have to also say, it's not like I'm going to stop using Goodreads completely right now. I'm still like experimenting and seeing how Storygraph is going, and I do plan to like maybe at one point of time go and like only be on Storygraph, but for now I'm still like on both, so I like update both simultaneously. It's fine. It's cool. Anyway, but Storygraph has some really cool data analysis, and they actually use the data. I don't know what that is, but it essentially it does a cool job of asking you for data and then giving you books based on that data. What is that called? I have no idea. But yeah. But yeah, so in the very beginning, I'm just gonna start screen recording. So essentially what it does is like it starts by asking you for like reading preferences, and you can see my reading preferences here. There are quite a lot. So it asks for like 5 of your favorite genres, and then the kind of books that you want to read, and then characters that you appreciate the most. So I really like these questions. I think these are great questions to ask. And essentially from what I have seen and what I've like experimented, it does some great jobs in terms of just giving you those like recommendations accordingly. So these so this is my 2 TBR pile, but this is my like just recommendations that they are giving. Now here is the really cool part, right? It asks you these questions. So like when you want recommendations from them, even based off like these, like you can filter them even more and ask for this. But here is the thing, it is going to be a plus thing in it's going to be a paid feature in starting Feb of 2021, which is in a month. So here is what I want to do in this vlog experiment thingy. I want to test this out and read a few books of the recommendations that it gives me and see whether I would want to pay for it or not. And see whether it is worth the money, because it is about $49 for a year, which comes up to about like 3,000. Wait, what is it? What is $49? 3,656 rupees. So that's like 10 rupees a day essentially. And I don't know whether like I would want that, because I don't know, it's a decent amount of money, you know, and I want to see before if it's worth my money. You get what I mean? Anywho, let's do this. I am going to figure out what my next read is going to be, and I'm going to see what my mood is. So my mood, I think, is going to be lighthearted, because I want to, like 2021, we just kind of started lighthearted, okay? Lighthearted and mysterious, you know? I don't mind, okay. And yeah, show books with any of these selected moods. Cool, fast. I want fiction. Genres. Well, I can include like, I can do all of these. So it gives you all of these options, but I'm not really like fussed. But it does say like exclude, but like I don't really care. Pages, I'm gonna choose 300 and 300 to 500. So between 300 to 500 is good. And it also gives you an option to say books from your to be read pile or books that I own. Then I'm gonna say search. Then we are waiting. We are waiting. Woo, woo. Okay. Is it my internet? Is it them? I think it's my internet because my internet's been a little slow. Oh, okay. Hello. All right. So the first one is okay. I'm gonna very quickly look through all of these, and then I want to tell you which book I'm gonna select because I don't want to spend too much money, and I don't know which ones are going to be like fully like, you know what I mean? So I am just gonna okay, I'm gonna get back to you in like a minute. No, maybe like you'll see. It's right now. Here. Hi. Okay. So much not much later, but like a little later, we have found the book and it is free on Scribd. So that's great. I'm gonna use my Scribd subscription, but it is called My Tie on One by Jill Marie Landis, and it is about this lady called M. Johnson who is now divorced, broke, and running a dilapidated tiki goddess bar on the magical north shore of Kauai, as she would have whatever basically. And apparently a neighbor is found dead and suspicion falls on M and her staff, so she has to like solve who the murder is before like, because people think it's her. I don't know. But it seems fun. It has an average rating of 4.0. And it seems like what I wanted, which was lighthearted, mysterious, and fast paced. So I guess this is works out in terms of what like I asked for. Let us see what I actually think of it though. Hi. So it is much later and I finished the book quite a while back. But I'm coming in now to film because I had a ear infection, which, you know, it's fine. But anyway, point is that I finished the book and it was exactly what I wanted in the whatever Storygraph, what I'm in the mood for. I asked for something that was fast-paced, that was lighthearted, that was mysterious, and that's exactly what this book was. It wasn't like groundbreaking or like a literary masterpiece, which I kind of like figured from the start. But essentially it's about this lady who's like newly divorced who goes to Kauai to help her grandfather, not grandfather, her uncle take care of like this bar that he has. And then there's this person who is murdered right outside the bar, and she and the community of people from the bar kind of make it their mission to uncover what happened and who was the murderer. And I think for me, I think I figured out from the very beginning who the murderer was. It was quite obvious. However, like it was still like cute and it was pretty fast paced. Like it went by pretty fast and there were a lot of things happening. So for that, like definite props. But yeah, I also like that there were like perspectives that came from like different people, and it was interesting that way. It seemed like a diverse cast of absolute weirdos, which also kind of worked. Like I feel like there were times that I was getting slightly annoyed, but it was fine. It wasn't like too bad. But yeah, it was I think I gave it like a 3.5 sort of situation. It wasn't good, as I've been saying, but it was exactly what I wanted. So for that, definite props for the Storygraph like algorithm for figuring that out. But essentially after this I went popped on to Storygraph again, and because I wasn't recording, I just recorded my screen, so you can go through that right now. But essentially I went in and I wasn't looking for a mood or anything like that, but I figured that I would look for like genres. So I picked fiction, and then I picked historical and LGBT. So I wanted like a queer historical. um that's essentially what I wanted. And yeah, so essentially, because the option I chose was like include both of these genres, that's how I got a queer historical. And then page count, blah, didn't really matter to me. And then it popped up a bunch of things, a bunch of books that I thought were interesting. Some I had sort of already heard of before, some I didn't. Um and then and then I found the Prettiest Star, and I immediately saw that I had a 4.47 rating, which I was like, whoa, that's quite intense. And yeah, even though it was based in the US, I felt like, just based on the ratings and how well people were talking about it, I thought that it was a book that I definitely wanted to read. And I found out that it is available on Scribd again. So yay, Scribd, because it was just way too expensive on my Kindle. But I have been reading it for the past couple of days, actually. And this book is absolutely stunning, stunning. That I don't know, I feel like this could be one of my new favorite books of all time, in fact. And I had never heard of this book before, so I am very happy to have started reading this. And yeah, I will probably just then give you my thoughts on this book in the next clip. Cool. Bye. Hi. So I am about 40 pages from finishing the book, and as I don't know if you can see, but I have been crying, I have been angry, I'm gonna talk about this book later, once I finish the book, and also once I gather all of my thoughts together, because okay. But meanwhile, what I thought I could do was to come and figure out what my next read is going to be, because I want to be prepared in case I need to like buy the book or source it somehow. I just want to be prepared. So I am gonna start recording. In terms of what I want to read, I think that I have not read a non-fiction this year yet, so I'm going to try to look for a non-fiction read. So let me just kind of, so no moods, but yeah, so I'm looking for non-fiction. And in terms of genres, I want to exclude stuff, so I don't want to read anything to do with art, to do with business, computer science, cookbook, design, I don't mind, economics, I don't want, education, food and drink, I don't think, food and drink, I don't think. Okay, what else? Do I want true crime? Maybe. Yeah, that's fine. And I don't want video games. Cool. So clearly a lot of things that I do not want. And I'm just gonna say search, and let's see what comes up. Oh, okay. Cool. Now I'm gonna like see what books are there. Okay, hi. So there were a lot of really interesting choices. And I do want to mention The Snakehead, an epic tale of the Chinatown underworld and the American dream. And this sounds so good, and I would have loved to read it, but I just can't find it anywhere. So I'm gonna try to message some of my book uh what's it called, like independent booksellers, and see if they have it, because it's just not available anywhere. And another one that I would really have loved to read, but again I can't find anywhere, is We Have Always Been Here, a queer Muslim memoir. I will link all of these books down in the description for you to check out, because they just sound really interesting. However, there are three books now that have caught my fancy. The first one is The 57 Bus, which is a book that I'm seeing some really good reviews about, which is about like a teenager with a skirt and a teenager with a lighter. So essentially, this boy lights this girl's skirt on fire, which is basically a hate crime of sorts. And then I don't know what happens. I'm just intrigued by the story. And I've heard some really good reviews. I saw Ashley Bookish Rems has given it a 4 star. And yeah, generally I just think that it seems really intriguing. So there's that. And then there is Girl Squads, which is about female friendships. Which also sounds really interesting to me. So this is again a book that, like, it just, wow, what? So yeah, this is another book that I think would be really cool to read. And the third one is a book that I would love to read, because it's a book that's actually like been um a book that I've been wanting to check out for a while now. Like, I've known about this book, and that is A Book of Unknown Americans. And I don't know if I will pick this for the Storygraph like vlog that I'm doing right now, because like, I've heard of it. So I want to idly choose a book that like I've never heard of, and Storygraph recommends this to me. So that would definitely be between the 57 Bus and Girl Squads. And they're both very different books. So I'm gonna have to like see what I want to read. And then I guess I will make up my mind and let you know, I guess, in whenever in this vlog at some point of time. But yeah, that's essentially where we're at right now. There's some really good suggestions. Wow, cool. I am going to go now and finish off my book, which is The Prettiest Star, which honestly, holy shit, is blowing my mind. I'm gonna just cry thinking of it now again. It's just gonna be one of those books which I know is gonna be in my top 10 of the year. I just feel it. So that's great. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to reading, and also make up my mind about the next book. Okay, bye. So I finished the book, and it is so good. Okay, so now that I've gotten sort of my feelings together, kind of, I wanted to tell you what the book was about. The book is essentially set in the 1980s during the AIDS epidemic, and it follows Brian, who's the main character. He is a young boy who, was a jock in his small town in Ohio, Michigan, one of the US states. And then he decides to kind of go to New York. And that's where he kind of fully comes into his own and realizes I mean, just becomes the sort of person that he wants to be, and has a relationship and has friends and has his found family. But in the very beginning, you see that his boyfriend, Sean, has passed, and he has died because of AIDS. And now he too, Brian, also does have AIDS, and he doesn't want to live in New York anymore because it's very painful for him with all of the memories and seeing all of his friends die, essentially. And he just wants to go back home. So he writes to his mom and says, like, I want to come back, and tells her that, like, I have AIDS. And but so she so this is the thing, right? So you see it from Brian's perspective, and you see it from Sharon, who's the mother's perspective. And she is from a small town, and she loves her son, but at the same point in time, she's just, with the whole conversation about AIDS that was going on at that point in time, it was like, oh, like, I might catch it, and like, it was just a very taboo sort of situation. And that's something that I really liked about the book, that it did not hold back in terms of what could be appropriate to say and what couldn't. Like, you knew for a fact that these um thoughts that the mother had were real, true thoughts that someone might have had. And the author clearly did an amazing job in trying to, like, put that across. It felt so believable, and so real. And then the third perspective is from Brian's sister, who is like 14, 15 years old, and she is in school, and it's just from her perspective of, like, how um I can't explain it, but it's just wonderfully done to see the relationships between them all. And these are the three perspectives that we get, but we do see other characters as well. One of my favorite characters is the grandmother Letty, who is just such a firebrand, and is so amazing. But essentially, and then there's Annie, and there are a bunch of people in this book, and the characterizations are just on point. What I loved about this book was just how beautiful it was, how beautifully written it was, and how brutal it was. I felt like everything that was written had a purpose. It had a like a flow to things, and everything was just written so beautifully. It is a short-ish book, about 300-ish pages. And it just, everything seems so planned, precise, but in a way that feels like so real, that it really took your heart and, like, stomped on it, but in the best sort of way. I do not think that I will be able to get over this book in a really, really long time. And I will wholeheartedly recommend this book for, like, all of eternity, I think. It's just absolutely amazing. Yeah, the book, the author is a trans man himself, and I cannot wait to read more from him. I am absolutely in awe of the writing, of the way that he told the story. It's stunning. I it's unbelievable, honestly. I Yeah, okay. That's all that I can say right now. I have literally just finished the book, and I don't really have all of my thoughts fully formed. Um, but that's all I can say for now, and I will uh, see you in the next clip. Bye. Hi, and welcome to the last clip, I think, of this video. I am sorry that in every clip I have looked like an absolute hot mess, but that's fine. That's just the vibe that I am going with. Okay. It's Anyway, let's just continue. I decided to pick up the last book, which was the 57 bus. And this was a book that I don't think I realized what it was, because it's a true crime book, is what I kind of went in thinking that it would be, but I didn't realize that it was also young adult, and that it would be written so simplistically, which I kind of appreciated at the end of it. I mean, like, even in the beginning, but like in the beginning, it kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, I should have just read more deeply into it. But that's on me. But I really enjoyed this book again, which is great. So essentially, this book, it tells you about something that happened in, I think, 2012, if I'm remembering right, wherein this black boy lit a skirt on fire of this person called Sasha, who is non-binary. And essentially, through this book, you see of what happened during that incident. And what happened post that incident, in terms of like what happened with court and all of that sort of stuff. But also it gives you an understanding of the two people's lives. One was the perpetrator and one was the person who was the victim. And essentially, through Sasha's story, you see of them being non-binary, coming out as trans, and being autistic as well. So that was really interesting. But they of course live, I wouldn't say they aren't rich, but they live in a more privileged sort of life. Whereas when you see Richard, Richard is black. He lives in, a poor-ish family. And he, I don't know, just maybe didn't have the best situations, best things guiding him, if that makes sense. And he didn't have all the privileges that, say, Sasha would have. And you kind of see the very stark differences. This is set in Oakland, and Oakland, California has, in this book, you see that the author talks about the difference in class, and how that could kind of, you could see that difference very, very clearly in terms of both of their lives, and in terms of how it kind of played out. I also really appreciated the way that the judicial system was kind of shown, and there were like these little um, facts that were peppered in through the book. Another thing that I really liked, which I think that a young adult would definitely appreciate, that the chapters were really, really small. I think they were like about maybe 2 to 3 pages max. So you flew through this book really fast because you're like, whoa, I'm really going fast through this one. I think I read this book in a span of maybe like 2 to 3 hours, because it was just really, really simple to read. And it was just essentially very simplistic in its writing in a good way. So yeah, there was that. Apart from that, I don't think that the writing was like one of the most like, oh my god, a beautiful sort of thing, but I don't think that was the point. And I really appreciated that I got to see this story from, like, I never heard of it personally, so I was glad that I read about it and got to see it from both sides, because you basically see it from both sides. And yeah, you just kind of see the inequities and the how the justice system is just completely, I mean, it doesn't make sense anymore. But yeah, that was my takeaway for this book. However, with regards to Storygraph, in general, I think that it is amazing. The suggestions that it has given me and the recommendations that it has given me have always been on point. I picked up the 3 books that I picked up, which was the 57 Bus, the Prettiest, and My Tai One On, were books that I had never heard of. There are also a bunch of other books that I definitely want to pick up because of the sort of things that I asked for, and I definitely really appreciate the fact that it gave me all of these suggestions with all of the preferences that I kind of had in place. while fiddling with Storygraph, I think I have realized that in the beginning, when I put on all my preferences, they were very, very, very specific. And I feel like to get a larger breadth of things, I can constantly change my preferences as well. So like I don't have to stick to um it throughout, and I can keep changing it. So in the beginning I wanted to read more Asian things. I kept it very like, I don't want anything from the US. Then I was like, you know what, maybe I am a little more open to that. So that's why I got things like the Prettiest and the 57 bus. So instead of putting like all of that, I said diverse reads. So these were definitely diverse, though they were still from the US. So that's something that maybe if I want to read more non-US or non-European books, then that's something that I'm gonna have to like put in my preferences. So I will definitely do that, but it's ever evolving. I can change it whenever. That was my point. But yeah, I think that Storygraph is absolutely amazing. Like the algorithm that they have is absolutely stunning. I definitely do think like the whole point was for me to figure out whether I will subscribe to the Storygraph membership, and I think that I definitely will, because it has some of it just gave me some absolutely stunning recommendations which I wouldn't have usually found out on my own. So yeah, that is essentially the conclusion to it. Yeah, and that's all. And also like, I do want to ultimately give it my money, because if it is going to help them to create a better platform, because yes, I do not think that it is perfect in any sort of way, but it does, I think they are still working on it, and as I said, it's a beta version. So yeah, like conclusion, should you maybe give it your money? Yeah, I think so. I think that it's done a really, really good job. So kudos if you want recommendations from Storygraph for sure. Apart from that, what else? That apart from that, that's it. That's all I kind of have to say. I think I might do another video with my in-depth thoughts on Storygraph. But maybe not now. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. And that's about it. I'm going to go now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, then do hit the like button, and like, leave a cute comment down below, something to say that you were watching or something like that. I don't know. And subscribe, and I don't know. I'm just gonna go now. Okay, bye.